I'm going to give you some fucking hype. 5 more Starbucks stores vote to unionize. Check this shit out.
It really came together really fast for our store. My store manager went on vacation, and this is the time we have an opportunity to organize. I texted a bunch of my coworkers. I was like, hey, this is why we need a union. My store was super supportive, and within 48 hours, we had 70% of the store signed up for union cards.
You know, it was just kind of a no-brainer for me when I heard that it was happening. I was like, okay, where do I sign up? I didn't really need any convincing. Obviously, the number one thing is pay and benefit increase, right? That's a given.
Myself, I make, 10 cents higher than someone that would get hired off the street right now. And I feel like people that give 5.5 years to a company deserve more than that.
I would like to see maintenance actually come and fix things when things are broken.
To be valued as an employee that makes this giant corporation a lot of money every day.
Starbucks is nationally cutting a lot of people's hours. We have partners who usually work, for example, 30 hours a week and have been working 30 hours a week for a long time, and it's expected that they will earn this income. And over the past few weeks, Starbucks has started scheduling that 30-hour-a-week person, for example, for 15 hours.
It's reached to a point where a lot of us have been, discussing finding other jobs and stuff to be able to make ends meet. That's been something we've been experiencing since we got our ballot date.
And again, we've also hired a couple more people. Why are you cutting hours while hiring more people? It doesn't really make sense. It seems like it's being designed to push people out.
We did see increased corporate presence. We had about a week full of one-on-ones.
Just kind of putting seeds of doubt in people's heads, just these very thinly veiled threats of you could lose everything, you could gain, or nothing could change. And it's well, we would only lose everything if Starbucks made that happen.
I witnessed probably about 36 different people, all management, all higher up, people who prior to the union campaign I'd never seen before in my life. There was times when they would take duties on the floor, cashier positions, they start ringing customers out. At the handoff plane, they'd start, bagging up orders and handing things off. They may take control of the drive-thru window for a bit of time. They may do trash runs or start doing dishes. Just really odd, given that, again, we would never get that kind of help before.
And it's just a very threatening presence to have multiple managers sitting in your lobby all day, just kind of inspecting you while you work.
For the first time in 5.5 years, I feel part of the company as a whole. Everyone that works at Starbucks is my coworker and a partner.
Your friends at work, your family at work, they care about what's going on in your life. But now we kind of have this collective goal.
Throughout this process, I've sort of been able to reach out to everyone individually in the store and have one-on-one conversations with them, either through text or in person. Throughout this, I definitely feel like I know my coworkers better.
And we're talking about things that matter too. We're talking about our work life, we're talking about things we want to see.
Even what our wages are. I feel like we weren't having those conversations before.
In an industry that a lot of people, I think, write off and say can't be organized, the Starbucks baristas have shown that you can organize these places and you can win. It just takes one victory to kind of spark a movement. And even someone like Howard Schultz isn't too big to organize against.
It's a return to kindness.
All right. Well, we're back. We are back. Union militancy is stepping up. You love to see it. And it's not just there. It's not just there, chat. There is an incredible new group of organizing that is happening in the country right now. And it is at Apple. Apple is finally, for the first time, seeing some of their first union organizing efforts. Let's fucking go. I think it's called the here it is. Apple Store employees in Atlanta file for union election. This was after the stream yesterday. The very first Apple Store organizing for election. Did you see this thread? I mean, I don't. Okay, we're not watching the 85 coverage. Workers
John
at an
Scully on the left is taking control from.
Workers at an Apple store in Atlanta filed for a union election on Wednesday in a bid to become the first group of retail employees at the tech giant to unionize. The Apple workers filed with the Atlanta office of the National Labor Relations Board, the HC confirmed to CNN Business, adding that the office will review the filing to ensure that at least 30% of workers have submitted union cards. Minimum requirement to form a union. Over 70% of the 100-plus eligible workers at the store have signed union authorization cards, according to the labor union Communication Workers of America, which is representing the Apple employees. The Atlanta store effort is the latest indication that big tech companies, which have largely avoided unionization among their corporate employees, are now confronting a growing number of union pushes among their hourly workers. At least one other Apple retail location is said to be looking to unionize. Meanwhile, several Amazon warehouses have also attempted to unionize, with one in New York City voting to form the company's first U.S. union earlier this month. Apple is a profoundly positive place to work, and we know that the company can better live up to their ideals, and so we're excited to be joining together with our coworkers to bring Apple to the negotiating table and make this an even better place to work. The CWA did not explicitly detail the proposed union's demands, but said in its statement that retail workers at Apple provide critical sales and repair services to a range of customers, yet have been denied a living wage, cost of living adjustments, or equitable stock options. Apple has more than 270 U.S. stores and tens of thousands of U.S. retail employees. The starting pay for retail workers is $20 an hour, or about $40,000 a year for a full-time employee. The average hourly wage for retail workers at electronics and appliance stores nationwide stands at $25.50 an hour, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. That is all workers in the sector, not the starting wage. In response to a request for comment, Apple did not directly address the Atlanta union election filing, but reiterated its previous statement that it is pleased to offer very strong compensation and benefits full-time and part-time employees, including health care, tuition reimbursement, parental leave, paid family leave, annual stock grants, and many other benefits. You fucking love to see it, man. You love to see it. All right, chat. I wanted to give you something positive. Oh? Something positive? Mexican lawmakers approve bill to nationalize lithium. Lithium belongs to Mexicans, not to transnational corporations, said one legislator. Let's fucking go! Mexican lawmakers this week passed legislation to nationalize lithium, a mineral needed to manufacture rechargeable batteries for electric vehicles and other devices. Mexico's Senate approved the mining reform bill by a margin of 87-20. With 16 abstentions. The bill recognizes lithium's reserves as federal property and gives democratically accountable lawmakers, rather than profit-maximizing multinational corporations, control over a resource that has been dubbed white gold and the new oil. President AMLO is expected to sign it into law as soon as this week. This single act makes AMLO more significant for the people of Mexico than any president in the last 100 years. Howell Vargan of Progressive International celebrated the bill's passage by Mexico's Chamber of Deputies, asserting that the arteries of imperial extraction are being severed before our eyes. Zero abstentions in the lower house, or zero people voting against it. The right-wiggers were so cucked, they had to abstain. They couldn't even vote no. Lithium belongs to Mexicans. 150,000 hectares of land were granted to private companies for exploiting the metal during President Enrique Peña Nieto's administration. The bill provides for the creation of a state-run enterprise that will maintain exclusive rights over lithium mining. Only one lithium mine in Mexico, operated by a Chinese firm, is anywhere close to starting production. It was not clear if that mine in northern Mexico will be taken over by the government. At his morning press conference Tuesday, AMLO said Mexico will review existing contracts for the extraction of lithium, which has grown increasingly important as a component. Blah, blah, blah. López Obrador sought the measure on lithium mining after a broader proposal by his center-left Morena party to increase government control of the nation's electricity system failed Sunday to garner the two-thirds majority needed for constitutional changes. The president described the right-wing opposition's refusal to support his initiative to overhaul the country's power system as an act of treason against Mexico, committed by a group of legislators who, instead of defending the interests of the people, become outright defenders of foreign companies. He has long championed resource sovereignty, but it remains unclear if his effort to take advantage of Mexico's abundance of lithium will include significant exemptions. Although most of the planet's lithium is located in Bolivia, Argentina, and Chile, the United Kingdom-based Lithium PLC identified the world's largest lithium deposit in Mexico's northern Sonora state in 2018, uncovering more than 243 million tons of the key metal. China's Ganfeng Lithium Company, which supplies Tesla with the mineral for its electric vehicle batteries, quickly purchased all mining concessions held by Bacanora. Mexican regulators made good on the theoretical grandfather clause and without fanfare gave the green light for the takeover of the lithium mining concessions. This exemption illustrates that AMLO's government is willing to concede some of Mexico's natural resource to a foreign economic power. It also reveals what analysts see as a vector of tension between AMLO's quest for Mexico's strategic mineral sovereignty and the much larger geopolitical race surrounding lithium. So this is fucking based. And obviously, having nationalizations be back on the table in political discussions in Latin America is incredibly important if we're going to see development take place in those countries. Development will not happen. Development will not happen if those countries are allowed to be exploited with no possible response or without proper accounting of what's being taken. That's why this is so fucking important. And this is what the future of the left is going to have to look like. All right, chat. I wanted to see this. I wanted to show you this. The fight against a U.S. mining company in Jamaica continues. This is the kind of story that I'm glad to see getting covered more and more and more, because it doesn't seem to get enough attention to me in Western media. The fact that the United States is hyper aggressive at getting concessions for natural resources in developing countries and does it by corruptly bribing the governments or using the U.S. State Department and threats of violence against these kind of developing nations is pretty gross. And we have destroyed politics in Jamaica as well.
Blessings. We are back in Jamaica on our way up to cockpit country, which is the most ecologically sensitive part of the island, and is being threatened by bauxite mining. We're going to find out exactly what's been happening since the last time we were here.
Bauxite has been here for years and been transported to America and all other places, and we never got anything out of it. No mining should be done here.
Last year, we came to Jamaica to report on the mining of bauxite, the ore used to make aluminum. Jamaica was once the world's leading exporter of bauxite, but now they're running out of places to mine.
Inside here is Special Mining Lease Area 173.
SML 173. So all of the folks here and this land is under threat.
Is under threat by bauxite.
SML 173 targets over 18,000 acres of land that have yet to be open to mining, though the U.S. company Noranda has been trying to get a permit for years. And the Jamaican government, it has an interest in helping. It owns 51% of the company's mining operations in the country, and folks here are worried about the industry's toll on the land and the people.
Who are those people that are so expendable and can be sacrificed?
In 2006, the people of Cockpit Country determined a boundary based on geology, history, and other factors. A 2013 government commission study agreed with them. But in 2017, when Prime Minister Andrew Holness proposed the Cockpit Country Protected Area, it excluded SML 173. And people there are fighting back.
When you're amongst the ancestors and you think of all that they've been through, believe you, it gives you more than strength to fight. Mm-hmm. We're the ones who burn the plantation. Mm-hmm. Don't play with us.
Mm-hmm. Cockpit Country is home to the Maroons, a self-governing group formed by indigenous people and formerly enslaved Africans. The Maroons fought off the British back in the 1700s and won a treaty that formally recognized their sovereignty. Should the mining companies violate the sovereignty, what do you intend to do?
What are we gonna do? Maybe I can't say that on camera.
Oh shit! Fuck, that's based.
Chief! What's going on?
Welcome. It's good to see you.
Hey, likewise, man. Glad to be back. Last time we were here, there was a lot of talk about mining companies coming in and threatening the sovereign territory of the Maroons, specifically SML 173. So has anything happened with SML 173?
There isn't mining in 173, but it's right along the border.
So there's been a little tension?
A little might be gentle.
Within a month after our last piece was released, Chief Curry and the Accompong Maroons chased Jamaican police out of cockpit country.
We coming, Joanna, coming, gun. Can't shoot nobody else, sir.
North of Kingston, the Russian bauxite company Wendalco poisoned the Rio Cobre River, disrupting the food and water supply.
The silence is deafening on the part of every spokesperson in governance.
And west of Kingston, a ruptured fuel line caused a fire at Hong Kong's Jamalco alumina refinery. But even as things heated up, the government continued its push to mine in cockpit country.
Since the signing of our treaty, the Maroons lived free forever on the lands that were designated Maroon lands, and our lands have now become under threat. There are arrangements and deals that are being done outside of the purview of the indigenous people of the land. And that concerns us because we are sovereign people, and the government, in collaboration with a foreign entity, can't just up and decide to go on anybody else's land and just mine. What would give me the right to come into your backyard and dig for gold, knowing that you have gold there without your permission?
It'd be a problem.
Okay, so imagine if I brought a foreigner with me, someone you didn't know.
It'd be a problem for them too.
We have this treaty, this international agreement to which Jamaica is obligated to honor.
What does sovereignty mean to you?
Sovereignty means, first, it's the freedom of the soil, right? Because that's where your sovereignty is derived from. We've always inhabited and protected these lands. We live off these lands. Our medicine comes from these lands. The herbs, the food, our sustenance. We know these lands to always be our lands.
Naranda says it has no plans to mine in Maroon communities, and the government responded directly to Chief Curry's concerns.
There is no other sovereign authority in Jamaica other than the government of Jamaica. Not 1 inch of Jamaica will come under any other sovereign authority. Are you crazy? This is the stuff of how guerrilla wars come. Thank you.
When Prime Minister Holness lost his cool, pressure mounted for him to sit down with the Maroons. He finally did, with a few catches. Chief Curry was not invited, and the 3 chiefs he did meet with were from territories far from cockpit country. 2 weeks later, the permit was issued for Naranda to mine the first section of SML 173.
Incredible.
The piece that they have now agreed can be mined is this pink area, 1,333 hectares.
What exactly is inside this pink area?
Farming communities, schools. I guess my biggest fear is...
Currently in Jamaica, Maroons have legendary status. Holness Party is the JLP. They are capitalist aligned. The PNP are the socialists. What I heard a lot about Jamaican politics is it's not as ideological. I mean, obviously, you're probably right as like a general sketch, but it's not ideological. It's like tribal, almost like there's a certain type of... There's a name for this type of politics, which is like, I'm going to give to you and I'm going to take from someone else. Even though they're like the same they're like the same socioeconomic status. Fuck, what the hell is it called? There's a name for this kind of politics. I'm blanking on it.
And how much their quality of life is going to be
not a syndicalist
affected.
At all, no.
And for the water supplies. This is an extremely complex ecosystem sitting over a large underground water aquifer. Why are we going to mine in the watershed area of a major river?
The government evaluated the environmental impact of Naranda's project and said it was safe. But the government's stake in the company makes that hard for some people to trust.
There's a relationship between people and the place in which they live. And bauxite mining disturbs that relationship in a profound way, and there's no coming back from it. Really what was there is lost forever.
I look at a town like Gibraltar.
Yeah, and they're already experiencing mining under this mining lease, SML 172. So they're right.
They're right on the line of
exactly.
all sides.
Yeah.
The town of Gibraltar is directly between an area that's already been mined out and the area that's been approved to be mined next. That was a turn? No, according to the map. Do you guys know where we are?
Let's just take a look.
Where's this road supposed to be taking us? Bro, we are in the middle of a pit.
I think call it clientelism, but yeah, it goes down to massive gangs at the street level, but the gangs are politically aligned. Yeah.
Good morning, citizens of Gibraltar. The government of Jamaica issued a permit to the Noranda Jamaica Bauxite Partners 2 for mining to take place. It's the start of mining in what we know as cockpit country.
If they take away my land, what am I going to do?
Because we are in this rural side, we are nobody to them. They don't see this community. We need someone to stand up with us to fight.
When the just say we are trying to stop it, and we can't stop it.
Me and you can't stop it. The whole nation need to come together, defend your rights. We have the national pledge. I promise to stand up for justice, brotherhood and peace, to work diligently and creatively, to think generously and honestly, so that Jamaica may, under God, increase in beauty. Any beauty that Gibraltar will never give.
We have to find back some of the maroon spirit. We need to fight for our community, our rights, because we know we have rights.
After the meeting, Shauna K. Hemmings took us to her house across the street. There's already a mining pit right in her backyard.
This was a farming land. We used to have coconut tree, banana, cocoa, peas, and potato, white yam, and corn.
It's like a grocery store back here.
Ready for each store now.
If you don't have this food and this farmland to sustain yourselves, how are you all living right now?
We have to buy, and we don't have money. So yeah, we say we are going to suffer now.
GOP helped the CIA screw us?
It affects our children coming up.
Yeah.
It affects our health.
This noise.
Jamaica has definitely been heavily interfered with by the U.S.
All month.
Your son has to wake up to this every day.
Right now, I'm even asleep good at night time. And when I go to school, right now, so my phone I ring teacher and say if you come feed because I'm asleep at school.
Jamal, how old are you?
7.
Even at school, Hemmings' son Jamal can't escape the impact of bauxite mining. This is the school.
Yeah, this is the school.
Right next to
mine.
Oh my gosh. So the school was here first, and then they start mining around it?
Yeah.
When did they start the mining?
2020. It was the COVID. The school was on lockdown, so then they get the big go ahead to do what they wanted to do.
Noranda told us they don't mine at night or near establishments when they're open. But for parents like Hemmings, it's not exactly ideal to live and send her child to study next to mining operations. Is there any way that they can prevent the kids from being affected by what's happening right next door?
Only the fencing. That's the only precaution I've seen. They have to walk me up the classroom for them to get enough air. When the sun is out and the breeze lift that dust, all of it's coming from that side. That's not good for them.
My dad worked for Alcoa. He and a lot of his friends worked there, all died of cancer. Safety in the mines begins in our minds.
You're looking at 165 on this side, which is a permitted area, and most of what we're seeing is mined out already. Over here, you're effectively driving into SML 173. A year passes and 2 years, and this is mined out. Then they request another permit to take another piece.
What towns are in that area that are about to be threatened?
The significant one would be Barnstaple.
Barnstaple is just 15 minutes down the road from Gibraltar. So far, it's untouched, but people here know what to expect if the mining starts.
The experience shows from the communities nearby that the damage is just barren.
If the government came here to see how you all live, do you think that would make a difference?
There's a government thing. It's the government that really care about we. They don't care, brother.
I am 70 years of age and I born in that house up there.
That's a nice house.
Pretty and everything. See cocoa here, you don't know cocoa?
Cocoa.
Yes, this is pumpkin. This is tree bean. Chocho, grapefruit, plant, banana, jackfruit tree, pear tree, everything, coconut tree. It's all it. Now when I come on, but that's what I do.
Without the land, we can't live. You see my finger them, look for me hand. Look here. See pan them how them crack up. You see how them crack? You see how them tap? A farming me do.
Do you sell it at the market or you just eat it for yourself?
No, I go to the market and sell it. No randa come and mine you up. No, we don't know what we go do. You know, we go just left pure hole around the place and poverty. You understand me?
Naranda says land that's mine can be reclaimed and used to farm again. But local farmer Tyron Jack is not buying it.
I don't want to see Naranda none at all. When they left we in a desert now, what big buckets of people going to do? We need food. And at the soil, bring it.
Abandoned raised here. My father, my mother, all of us abandoned, my children, my brothers, my mother, my father is buried up there.
Extract, millions and millions of dollars of minerals and give nothing back to the people who get displaced. Incredible.
If Naranda come into mind this era, where would I go? What would happen to me?
If you had one thing that you could say to Prime Minister Andrew Holness, what would it be?
I say, Mr. Andrew, avoid the mining. Back over Barnstaple, back in a sentence now. Avoid the mining, Mr. Andrew. We never put you there for that.
Prime Minister Andrew Holness ignored our interview request. So we sat down with the new mining minister, Audley Shaw, a career bureaucrat who was appointed in January.
We've had bauxite mining and alumina production for over just about 70 years. The companies generally have shown good support for communities in which they operate. And the people are highly appreciative of it, and so is the government.
Is it your understanding that bauxite mining is destructive to the land?
You know, there's a perception that when the companies go into an area, all of the land is mined out. It's not all of it. It's actually in pockets around the place. Typically, most of the land remains untouched.
This is SML 173 here. Are you familiar with the towns that exist in this area?
No, I've not. As I said, I'm just on board.
We've had the luxury of meeting the fine people there, and several times over, they said, the Jamaican government doesn't care about us. Why do you think they feel this way?
Those are some of the issues that we have to concentrate on to make sure that we balance and to make sure that people are not disrupted in a negative way.
The Jamaican
government. If you're setting a
is
mine up, the amount of wealth that's coming out of that is more than enough to fully compensate people that get displaced. The fact that there's even a question shows you just how exploitative these relationships are. It's absurd.
51%
It's absurd.
owner of a bauxite company with Noranda, is it possible that your stake in mining may cloud your judgment when it comes to protecting the people of Jamaica and the environment here?
No.
Is that not a conflict?
Not at all. This government is definitely interested in protecting our environment. And that's why National Environment Protection Agency is a government agency.
Yeah, but that's like...
Sir, it is a government agency. So you can't say that this government is not interested in environmental protection.
When you do a cost-benefit analysis, do you think the bauxite mining is worth it, especially considering it's a finite resource?
The answer for us in Jamaica, in terms of our path for wealth creation, is not to look at the bauxite industry and lock it down and throw away the key. It is for us to focus more intensely on the interests of our citizens and farmers.
They not deal with we like people. They not deal with we like human beings. That is one of the things we're tired of. I see and I know what my children can get, and I know what this community need, and we are demanding it.
All these land, remember our ancestors fight for us and die for us to make sure the generation to come, they have somewhere to live and they have land to cultivate.
Me love my farm. When I allow them to just step in for me, so. We would have preferred die more than then come here so can dig it up.
I think a lot about those who came before us, what they went through for us to be here today. And then I think about the responsibility that we have to ensure that we preserve this for those who will come after us. The Almighty above will always provide as long as we do our best to protect and preserve.